what an episode! Not explosive in the literal sense, but as far as paying off tension between characters, quite excellent. Let's get recapping. After receiving some praise from his crush Tsubomi and some light teasing from Emi, this leads Mob to believe he may be getting popular with the girls, and convinced that passers-by are whispering about him. He's bursting with newfound confidence, but unfortunately this also blossoms into arrogance. Dimple, in his usual demeaning fashion, tries to reason with Mob, letting him know he's delusional and misinterpreting events. Mob denies these claims, and the conversation eventually shifts to Dimple's machinations, as there is an audition happening to see who will be the leader of the Psycho Helmet cult. Since this new faction was birthed from Dimple's defunct clan back in Season 1, he thinks he has a right to it. Mob has no interest in ruling over the masses and becoming a god, however he does have an interest in possibly becoming the leader, while letting Dimple know he's no different from the competition grasping for power, telling Dimple to give up on his ambitions. Ending their conversation in a sudden silence, Dimple leaves, appearing dejected. The next day, Mob had made plans to meet with Tomei and Masato, and also make an appearance at the cult leader auditions. He is encouraged to get new threads and dress to impress. Unfortunately, it's all for naught, as both girls are a no-show, and he can't be reached by phone either as his battery runs out. Meanwhile, a mob-shaped monster declares himself the leader of the Psycho Helmet cult. This is the first time in a while that Mob has done anything worthy of criticism, probably since the end of Season 1.
If I can save them, I don't care what happens to the ones attacking me!
We're so used to Mob being timid and socially inept. When he gets the first hint of encouragement, he quickly lets it get to his head, which actually made me feel more empathetic for him, because he's never had to gauge that line between confidence and arrogance before. You don't even need to get to the end of the episode to know he's already being set up for things to blow up in his face. Before the opening theme is played, we already see him misunderstanding looks given, as you can hear one of the girls is actually speaking about Ritsu.
And they're whispering things about me too!
Yeah, that Ritsu's something else.
Pride is something we've seen explored with Reigen, Ritsu, and Teru, so you'd expect them to say something. Though I suppose it can be argued he hasn't done anything bad, not really egregious anyways. Dimple is the only one to speak up to Mob, and he's also the worst choice to have done so too. He cuts through Mob's delusions really quick and makes it clear, you're just a boy misconstruing events. While Dimple is correct, he can't help saying things in the most inflammatory way.
You can't begin to imagine the extent to which no one ever notices you!
At one point he mentions he cares about Mob, and I'm actually inclined to believe him. For example, when he lied to Mob to get him to calm down back in Season 2, examples like those make me think he sees Mob as something more than just a puppet for his plans. And Mob himself might also be coming across as unintentionally insensitive, slamming down Dimple's dreams, which are awful, don't get me wrong, but it does hurt to have a friend beat down your goal and say you're no better than the people you despise, even if true, seems like something Dimple might say. The show makes it clear as day that if Dimple's ambitions were to come true, he wouldn't know what to do with his godhood, and that'll likely be the center of his inner conflict. Moving on to something not as clear, and I might be reading into it too much, but in the previous episode, Reigen is shocked by Mob being able to solve his own problems, and doesn't even get the chance to hear what the issue even was. I originally thought this was just him being flabbergasted, just being surprised at Mob's ability to do this. Well, in this episode, Reigen is bored with his usual casework and asks about his staff's personal lives, but really pushes Mob to talk to him. Now, you could read into this as Reigen fearing that he's losing his influence on Mob. Let's not forget that in the first episode of the season, Mob was pretty dead set about not pursuing a career as an Esper. So you can see him slowly losing that grasp as a mentor over Mob. So this is possibly an angle they're taking for Reigen's character. Other than the drama, I think Chad Mob was the comedic highlight of the episode. Teru getting Mob to buy an ugly shirt was a bit too random for me. I mean, Teru never really dresses in ugly shirts before, and I get that might be the joke. It just didn't land that well. Although I thought his obsession over monkeys was at least grin-worthy. But yeah, Chad Mob all the way. Solid episode with lots of setups, waiting for the payoffs before getting too critical. I know we're moving on with Dimple's rise to power, but I hope they pay off Mob's pride taking a beating as well. That's all for now.